Can I ask you a question? Has any medical professional whose opinion you trust told you that Donald Trump tested positive for the coronavirus? Let's talk about that, because being able to trust our government officials, like justice, matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So first, the White House tells us that Donald Trump tested positive for the coronavirus. And if the White House tells us it must be true, right? And now they've moved him from the White House to a hospital. So if they move him the 8 miles from the White House to Walter Reed Medical Center, well, that confirms that he has the coronavirus, right? Now, folks, I promise you, I am not a conspiracy theorist. But after investigating, indicting, and trying many conspiracy cases in my 30 years as a prosecutor, I actually see myself as a conspiracy realist. Conspiracies exist. There are people serving time for having been convicted of criminal conspiracies, and there are governmental conspiracies. I don't have to tell you that. We've been living it every day for the past 4 years with the Trump administration. Now, I don't often tell stories about the murder cases that I've handled as part of my YouTube videos, part of my legal analysis. But, there is an eerie parallel between what I'm seeing in the Trump administration at this moment and one of the criminal cases that we had in D.C. decades ago. And it had to do with the bad guys using a hospital as cover. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about trusted government officials. I trust Dr. Anthony Fauci. Period. Full stop. Right? The man is one of the world's foremost infectious disease specialists, experts. He has dedicated his life to preserving and promoting our public health, right? He helped us through HIV/AIDS and through SARS and through swine flu and through Ebola. Is it too much to ask to have Dr. Fauci run a Q-tip up Donald Trump's nose, analyze it, and tell us whether in fact Donald Trump is positive for the coronavirus? I will take Anthony Fauci's word for it. I'm not going to accept the words of Kayleigh McEnany and Kellyanne Conway, the people who gave us, you have facts, we have alternate facts. I'm not going to believe them. I'm not going to trust them. They're not reliable sources. They're not credible government officials. But if Dr. Fauci looks us in the eye, looks into the camera, and tells the nation Donald Trump is in fact positive for the coronavirus, gone will be my skepticism. Let me talk about a case that we had in Washington, D.C. decades ago. This is back when D.C. was sadly the murder capital of the U.S. because it involves a hospital. And it was the first thing I thought of when I saw how the White House was trying to convince us all that, of course, he has the coronavirus. He's in a hospital. We had some bad guys who came upon an enemy of theirs. They hustled them into their car. Unfortunately, they shot him, killed him in the car. The car was covered in blood. What did the bad guys do? They drove to the hospital, to the emergency room. They delivered the victim to the emergency room and they said, "Somebody shot our friend, please help him." And off they went. What did that accomplish? Well, they hoped it would accomplish 2 things. One, it gave them an innocent explanation, if believed, for all the blood that was in the car because, hey, we transported this poor guy to the hospital. And 2, It made them look like they were the good guys. They were there to help. They were simply taking a friend to the hospital to see if he could be saved. They used the hospital as cover. They used the hospital as part of a false narrative to help them get away with their crime, with their deception. It's not an exact parallel, but you will excuse me if the White House tells me something and then they try to bolster it by moving the president 8 miles from the White House to Walter Reed and believing that will convince us all that the president has coronavirus. Not that he is so desperate that he's looking for an exit strategy. Not that he was getting crushed in the polls and they had to take drastic measures. Not that he was about to lose an election. Not that he has $300 million in personal loans coming due that he can't pay. Not that once he loses the election, he's going to be prosecuted in multiple jurisdictions for his crimes against the United States and her people and the immigrants who came here yearning to breathe free. No. That has nothing to do with any of it. Trust us because, Kayleigh McEnany told us he's got the coronavirus. That's what this is all about. And it may be, folks. Like I say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. But it shouldn't be too much to ask for just one trusted public official, just one reliable medical professional calling Dr. Fauci to tell us he tested the president and he can vouch for the results. And then, as I say, gone will be my skepticism, and then we'll move on to the next topic, and that's the video for tomorrow. It will involve the 25th Amendment, because what happens if there has to be a transfer of power from the president to the vice president? What happens if the president really is infected with the coronavirus and if his health really does deteriorate to the point where he becomes incapacitated? There can be a temporary transfer of power under the 25th Amendment. That's been done before. Ronald Reagan did it when he went in for surgery. George Bush did it when he went in for his colonoscopy. Or there can be a permanent transfer of power from the president to the vice president. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. And in the meantime, I really hope we just get one reliable, trustworthy, medical professional, government official to tell us, to vouch for us, that indeed Donald Trump is positive. That way we can set that potential conspiracy to the side and continue to focus on what's important. In the meantime, folks, please stay safe. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.